The 996 Turbo used to be known as this absolute bargain in the Porsche world, but is it still today? We had a really clean 2002 six-speed coupe come through the shop recently for service and a suspension refresh. There was a time where you could score a really nice one of these for about $45,000. But values have been creeping up for years, and this car is probably worth 70 or 80 grand today. At that price, my instinct is to say that it's no longer a bargain, but I think we should take some time to explore that question. So while Chance and Shelby get to work on the car, let's take a look at it and see what else might be a better value for $75,000. If you're not familiar with the 996 Turbo, let me get you up to speed. It's the first water-cooled turbo, replacing the iconic air-cooled 993. When it came to the US as a 2001 model, you could get an optional automatic transmission for the first time in a turbo. This car has the standard 6-speed, and that was definitely the enthusiast's choice. The 3.6-liter Mezger Flat 6 was derived from the Le Mans winning GT1 race car. It made 415 horsepower thanks to about 12 psi of boost from the twin turbochargers. The Turbo was received at the time as a faster and more refined, but somewhat uglier successor to the 993. Pricing started at about $110,000 in 2001. The looks, especially the headlights, are a big part of what caused it to depreciate so badly. But that Mezger motor is a big part of why a lot of fans see the 996 Turbo as a future classic. The engine architecture is shared with the GT3, and it didn't suffer from any of the bore scoring or IMS bearing issues that the other 996 variants are known for. And a great thing about Porsche in general is that 25 years after the 996 Turbo was released here, we can still get factory parts and aftermarket upgrades, like the H&R coilover kit for this car. Let's say you had $75,000 to spend on a 911, but you wanted something newer. You can probably find a really clean 991.1 2012 or 2013 Carrera Coupe with a manual for that money. That model is 10 years and 2 full generations newer than this 996, and by comparison, it feels like a thoroughly modern car. It also fits our expectations about how a 911 should look. And a base coupe with a 7-speed is more than 400 pounds lighter than this turbo. You can get the 991 with a PDK, which is infinitely superior to the Tiptronic automatic transmission from the 996 and early 997 cars. But the Turbo has some advantages that are hard to ignore. The thrust from the turbochargers makes it much faster than the mere 350 horsepower you get from a base 991. And as the top model in the lineup, the Turbo carries a whole bunch of panache that you can see and feel. It has a presence that the base model doesn't. At double the age of a 991, the Turbo is much more likely to rack up repair bills. But an early 991 is 14 years old, and we're starting to see more and more of them in need of water pumps, suspension refreshes, and other major service. What if you don't want something modern? What if you love that early 2000s era? Well, you can get a Ferrari 360 Modena for about 75 grand, but you'll probably have to settle for the F1 sequential transmission. The Ferrari is a beautiful car, and it's going to be much sportier to drive with its lightweight and mid-engine layout. It's going to feel more special. And importantly, nobody's going to make fun of your headlights at the local Cars and Coffee. But it's also going to be a pain in the ass.
It's science.
We have a 2007 F430 in the shop for repairs and maintenance. It's been here for over a month. Not because the repairs are that difficult, but because the parts had to come from Italy, which took weeks. I respect anybody with the commitment to really drive their older Ferrari, and those folks are rewarded with a really amazing driving experience. The 996 Turbo might seem a little dull by comparison, but it represents reliability and solidity compared to the temperamental Italian. And if it needs repair, it doesn't require the same level of patience. This turbo needed dozens of parts, and all of them were stocked by our local distributor. We had our customer in and out for major service while the Ferrari sat waiting. So if we care about performance, reliability, and cost of ownership, what about a G80 BMW M3? For about 75 grand, you can get a nearly new one with a 6-speed transmission and rear-wheel drive. That car has 480 horsepower and a usable back seat. It will outperform a stock 996 Turbo in most tests, and it has Apple CarPlay along with some remaining factory warranty. But I'm more excited about driving the Turbo. Folks thought the 996 was ugly when it arrived, but in my book, this car has aged really well. I'm not sure if we will look back on the G80 in the same way. And while the Turbo isn't exactly a nimble sports car at 3,500 pounds, the M3 is at least 300 pounds heavier. With hydraulic steering, hydraulic brakes, good shifter feel, and an excellent seating position, the Turbo is built around giving the driver the perfect amount of feedback. Enough to feel thoroughly connected with the car, but not so much as to be exhausting. The M3 feels numb by comparison. I suspect the overall build quality of this Turbo is better as well. Modern BMWs are jam-packed with technology and features, and I think it's going to make it harder to keep them on the road in 25 years. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Turbo is still going strong in 2052. The car has fresh coilovers, control arms, fluids, and a few other fixes. All that remained was an alignment to get it dialed in. One thing that surprises a lot of people about older cars, even if they have low miles like this one, is the suspension components deteriorate with age. And since these parts fail gradually, you might not notice that your struts are blown or your bushings have failed. The cost of parts and labor for this project was well over $10,000, but it brought the car back to like new condition. I was eager to take it for a test drive because despite being a fan of the 996 Turbo, I had never spent any significant time in one. I'm used to driving a 2002 911 because I have one, but I'm used to a base, and this is the Turbo. Whole different story. Not only is this, significantly faster than the base car, but it also represents, kind of the halo car at the time, if you don't count the GT2. None of us even knew about the GT3 back in 02. It was not really on our radar, but the Turbo, that's what I wanted. This one rides so much better than mine with the new coilovers. But I think that the test of a coilover in a situation where you're not going for outright performance is, would you think that it came like this from the factory? And that's what this feels like. That's what I would expect, is like, oh yeah, if you told me this is just a stock fresh car with less than 27,000 miles, I would believe you.
It still feels fast.
Oh dude, and that was not full throttle. It is fast. It's still a fast car. And there's so much aftermarket support. I think the looks have aged really well on these.
They have.
I really like the way this shifter feels. It's kind of notchy, but it's very direct.
Also, this was a rock star car.
What do you mean?
It was the drummer of Aerosmith. It's his car.
You mean this specific car?
This car. That's what Chance said.
No way.
He said this was the drummer of Aerosmith's car.
Something about a 911 Turbo, man, especially with a manual. It's just so freaking cool. And it 100% 100% holds up today. It doesn't have the oomph of some of the stuff we've driven, like a new Turbo S with a tune would leave this for dead. But this is far more than adequate for any normal person. And, you know, 10 years ago, these represented a great value in the 911 world, and I think they still do. They're going up, but the 996 headlight curse is probably never going to go away completely. Mustang.
God, it feels so good.
She still got it. Looking at some of the other cars you can buy for $75,000, it's probably fair to say that the 996 Turbo can no longer be classified as a bargain the same way that it was pre-COVID. I think what's probably happened is that the casual enthusiasts have finally caught on to how good these things are. But does it represent good value? In my mind, absolutely. Whether a 996 Turbo is right for you, I think depends on how you intend to use it. There are more comfortable cars for commuting, faster cars for track days, lighter cars for canyon carving. But as a classic supercar that can do it all well and be an absolute joy to drive in the process, the 996 Turbo might be the perfect choice. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have an older Porsche that needs a refresh, give us a call.